it today. We're walking by faith is the only way. Trusting God wherever I'm sent. I have to be real, raw, and relevant. It's Faith Unscripted.
You're watching Faith Unscripted, coming to you from the greater Chicago area. Now, here's Pastor Moses.
Are you still rolling with me here? All right, so the Bible is clear that God is sovereign. However, everybody shout, however. Although I believe that God is sovereign, I do not believe that God has chosen to use his sovereignty to control all things. All right, some of you backed off me right there. I said, all right, I'm going to say it again. I said, although I believe that God is sovereign, I do not believe that God has chosen to use his sovereignty to control all things. You see, you can have power and authority to do something, but choose not to operate in that power and authority that you have. Now, because you choose not to operate in it, it does not mean that you do not have it. All right, for example, I am the senior pastor of Faith Movers Church. And by virtue of my position, I have the authority to make any decision pertaining to Faith Movers Church. However, there are some things that I have chosen not to be a part of. There are some decisions that I have chosen not to make. Matter of fact, I have empowered someone else to do it, and I stay out of it until I'm invited. I'm going to go there in a little bit. Now, this is how the sovereignty of God works. Because although God is sovereign, he has control, there has been, now watch this, 2 times in which he has chosen to give over his control. Stick with me now. I'm going somewhere with this. There have been 2 times that God chose, and he said, I got all power, I got all control, but there are 2 times where I'm going to choose to give it over to somebody else, all right? Or to something else. The first time he did it was when he created mankind. The second time he did it is when he created the earth. Are you with me here? Now watch it. When God created mankind, he sovereignly decided to make mankind with something that is called free will. All right, for all my note takers, free will is the ability to make your own choices independent of anything or anyone. So watch it. When God made mankind, he made us with the ability to make our own choices. All right, let me kind of Moserize this. We were not created as robots, being controlled and manipulated in all we do. God did not want robots, he wanted a relationship. He wanted a relationship that was based on choice and not force. Yeah, he wanted a relationship, stick with me now, that was based on what? Choice and not force. Because some of you know, if you're going to have an authentic relationship with someone, if you have to force them to be with you. I wonder how far should I go with that. If you got to beg them to be with you, if you got to manipulate them to be with you, how many of you know if you got to force them to be with you, you're going to have to force them to stay with you? Are you hearing me here? You see, when it comes to God, God will order your steps, but not make you walk in his path. And the first time that God allowed his control to be limited is when he made mankind. But watch this. The second time he did it was when he created the earth. Because when God created the earth, he sovereignly decided not to control the affairs of the earth. Now watch it. He gave that authority to mankind. Let me put some Bible on that because some of you are getting nervous. All right, Genesis chapter 1. Let's go. Genesis chapter 1. Let's slow walk down to verse 26. NLT still. It says this. Then God said, let us make human beings in our image to be like us. They will reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the livestock, all the animals on the earth, all the small animals that scurry along the ground. So God created human beings in his own image. And in the image of God, he created them, male and female. He created them. Verse 28, then God blessed them and said, be fruitful, multiply, underline this, fill the earth and govern it. All right, King James says, subdue it. In the Hebrew vernacular, it means you control it. You decide what happens to it. You decide what goes on in it. You govern it. I've given you authority to do it. I've blessed you to do it. I want you to be fruitful. And everything that's in it will be subject to you. Why? Because I've given you the authority to do it. Watch the flow of God. God says, I control heaven, but humans control the earth. Now I'm saying it again. God says, I'll control heaven. You can't play with God in heaven. The devil tried and got kicked out. He controls heaven. But when it came to earth, he says, I want mankind to have authority over the earth. I mean, let's just get practical. Think about it. If you say, well, God is in control even over everything in the earth, let's be honest. You can make an argument. If God's in control over the earth, he ain't doing a real good job. He messed up 2 weeks ago with that hurricane Ida that came through here. God, stop it in the water. Stop it before it starts circulating. Stop it before it hits land. You in control. Stop it. Don't let it kill innocent people. Stop it. Heck, if God's in control, why did that little 13-year-old girl get killed in Chicago yesterday? God knocked the gun down before they pushed the button. God, give them a heart attack, make them die before you're in control. And go, forget all of that. God knocked the fruit out of Adam's hand. Don't let him eat the fruit. He's going to mess up everything. Everything is perfect. But if he eats that fruit, everything is messed up. God, you made Adam. Why don't you stop it? But then God replies, because I made him to make a choice. And I'm so God, and I've given you so much free will that I'll sit there and watch you make a stupid choice. You see, God says, not only have I given you choice, but God says, I'm not a micromanager. And the only time, that he intervenes in the earth is when he is invited. It's a side note. This is free here now. This is a free side note. And there are 3 ways you can invite God into the earth. The first way is through prayer. This is why prayer is so important. You don't pray to invite God. You don't pray to impress God. You don't pray to inform God. Remember now, he knows all things. If we don't pray to inform him with what's going on, if we don't pray to impress him, why do we pray? To invite him into the situation. God, we need your power. God, we need you to show up. This is why when you ain't praying, you are kicking God out of your affairs. One way you invite him is through prayer. Another way you can invite God to intervene is through praise and worship. For the Bible says that God inhabits the praises of his people. And you can tell some people who ain't got no God in them, because every time it's time to praise, they always cute. They got their arms folded. You can tell that's somebody who ain't got his presence. People who have the presence of God continually with them are people that keeps a praise in their mouth, keeps a worship in their heart. It invites him. The last way you invite God is by faith. God is attracted to faith. Oh God, how far should I go? God gets stimulated by faith. Jesus said, who touched me? Ah, God, how far can I go? It almost as if it stimulated him. And they said, Jesus, everybody is touching you. He said, no. It wasn't no regular kind of touch. It was a faith touch. And because it was a faith touch, somebody was inviting me to help their situation. That's why you ought to thank God that you're a faith mover, because every time you learn about faith, you are attracting God to your situation. Because if you know anything about God, he needs to be believed. He don't just want to be believed. He needs to be believed. And when you don't believe him, you become unattractive to him. The Bible says without faith, you cannot even please him. Faith is a way that you attract yourself to God. Now, can I go deeper? I ask you a question. Can I go deeper? All right, okay, all right. Now, watch it. Now, because not only did God create the earth and mankind and gave them a level of control, especially us as mankind, which says real quickly, which shows us the importance of the church. Because now when God says, I created the earth and I created mankind and I gave mankind the authority to rule the earth, he said, I also put it in a way that I won't even intervene unless you all invite me. As a matter of fact, I won't even come in the earth unless I come through you who I created. Now, this is why the church is so important. This is why we are called, think about it, the body of Christ. We are the feet of God. We are his mouth. We are his hand. Wherever footprint we go, he goes. If anything is going to happen in the earth, the church got to do it. And one of the reasons why the world is so bad, because we got a little weak church who don't want to walk in its authority, who don't want to walk in what God has called it to walk on. Don't you know a lot of this mess that's going on, if the church would come together, we could wipe it out in a couple of days? Come on, don't you know if we start standing up and coming together and saying, I know who we are, the government don't run this earth, God run this earth, and we represent him, and anything he's going to do, he's going to do it through us. It's got to come through us. Can't no decision be made unless it comes through us. If the church did that, a lot of stuff would be quickly wiped off the map. Look at somebody and say, do you know who you are? You ain't no spiritual rooted pool. You a child of God. You represent the presence of God. And wherever you go, he will be with you. His power, his favor, his blessing will rest on your life. This is why even when Jesus came to earth, he came through a woman. Why? You come through a woman because I'm going to respect my process. So I put a process in the earth. I got to either come through a woman. If God in the flesh going to get the earth, he says, that's my order. Somebody shout, that's my order. So now, everybody say so now. And I said all of that to make this statement. It's important because when we say this statement that God is sovereign, he controls everything, we got to be careful. Because yes, God is sovereign. He has all control. And in his sovereignty, he has chosen to give his control and authority to humankind. Now, this is very important because when we think that God controls everything, it is easy to blame him for everything. Would you bump somebody and say, did you get that? Did you? God, that's good. I said, when you have the mentality that God controls everything, it becomes easy to blame. It's almost a cop-out almost. That I don't have to take no responsibility for nothing. Because it's all on God. Are you hearing me here? And by doing this, we fail to realize that some things that happens to us, God has nothing to do with it. But if we fail to realize this, we will end up blaming God for stuff he's not responsible for, which will cause us to have an unfair image of God that can negatively impact our relationship with him. Now, this is what happened to a lot of people. They've been misinformed, and they believe that everything bad that happened, God did it to them. It was God's fault. So it has created this unfair image of who God is. So when you say God is good, in their head, too scared to say that loud, in their head they say, he ain't been good to me. So when we're praising God and you're excited, they can't understand it. Because they're like, what God you serving? The God I'm serving ain't creating nothing but hell for me. The God I serve has been unfair to me. The God I serve has put me through hell and high water. I can't shout over a God like that. Do you see the unfair image that impacts their relationship with God in a negative way? So let's just end today by answering the question, all right? Pastor, why certain tragedies, trials, and troubles happen in life? Give your boy 7 minutes, all right? All right, here goes the first one. The first reason why some stuff happened to us that's bad, number one, is because disobedience to God's order. See, here we go. Sometimes bad things happen in life because we have deliberately disobeyed God's way of doing things. You see, God has established laws and principles to govern life and earth. But when we don't heed to them, we put ourselves in position for bad things to happen. Hear me good. There's always a negative consequence to disobeying God. You got to write that down. There's always a negative consequence to disobeying God. You see, God's order is for our protection. It's not to stop us from having a good time. It's not to kill our swag. Look at me good, I promise you. God's order is for our protection. Remember now, he created the earth. He created us. He knows how it works. He knows what's good for us. He knows what's bad for us. God would have told us, don't play with that. It caused corona. Don't do that. It caused corona. And if that gets out, it's going to be a mess. But when you don't heed to his way of doing things, it positions you for bad things to happen to you. Are you still with me here? All right, very quickly, go to Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28, verse 1. NLT. It says this: if you fully obey the Lord your God, carefully keep all his commandments that I'm giving you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all nations of the world. You will experience all these blessings if you obey the Lord your God. Your towns and your fields will be blessed. Your children and your crops will be blessed. The offspring of your herds and flocks will be blessed. The fruit baskets and breadboards will be blessed. Wherever you go and whatever you do, you will be blessed. God says, if you respect my order, you will be blessed in the earth. Can't nothing stop you. Skip down to verse 15, same chapter, chapter 28, Deuteronomy. He says, but if you refuse to listen to the Lord your God, and do not obey all the commandments and decrees that I'm giving you today, all these curses will come and overwhelm you. Your towns and fields will be cursed. Your fruit baskets and breadboards will be cursed. Your children and crops will be cursed. The offsprings of your herds and flocks will be cursed. Wherever you go and whatever you do, you will be cursed. Now watch it. Look at me. God created this earth. God created you. He knows what's good. He knows what's bad. As a result, he put in principles to say, as you govern the earth, do these things, you will be all right. If you get arrogant, want to create your own way, come against me, There's a price that pay. And when the price hit, I can't stop it. Are you hearing me here? For example, all right, some examples. Let's talk about sex, baby. All right, talk about sex. Let's just say sex. If you do it God's original plan, original way, a man and a woman gets together. They're two virgins, and they only have sex with one another. If that's what everybody did, we have eliminated all sexual diseases. It's been eliminated. Why? Because you did it perfectly towards the plan. Now we know things ain't perfect, but I'm saying if you stick to the original plan, he says, if you do it my way, don't get caught up in the world's way, you do it my way, that's there to keep you safe. Because I know if you start mingling too much, things will, I made the body, I know how it works. All right, disease. We all know that certain foods produces certain diseases. And so in Leviticus chapter 11, he created what is called by some the Levitical diet, where God identifies what is clean and what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat. And now he's pretty puts it out. Don't eat this, you can eat that. Now when we say, oh, forget about that, you know, we're under grace, do we want to do it? You are. We're under grace, eat what you want to eat. You are under grace, but God says at the same time, I made certain animals. And I know if you eat that animal, it will produce certain things in you. That's why I'm telling you not to eat it. But when you say, I'm going to do what I want to do, you open yourself up for certain diseases to get to you. And God is sitting there saying, I gave you the order. Y'all don't like it. He says, but I can't do it. All right, climate change. God says, I put humans to be in charge of the earth, to protect it, but now it's falling apart. He says, why? He says, because y'all got lazy. Think about it in God's original plan. God says, I gave you 2 legs to walk. But y'all got lazy and built cars. Let's just imagine, if we walk everywhere, number one, we ought to be healthier. But we built cars that overheated the earth, produced climate change. Now we created hurricanes, all kind of stuff. The earth is melting in certain parts because God said y'all was in charge of the earth, but you went buck wild. And now the earth is groaning, it is moaning, it is punishing us, it's hitting us back because we went against God's order. Even natural disasters, because some things are just natural disasters. Understand, some things happen because we live in a fallen world. See, when Adam sinned, 2 things happened. He brought death and decay in the earth. Before he sinned, there was no such thing as death, and your body never decayed. But because of his sin, I don't care how fine you are, keep on living. Some things that's up gonna drop down. Okay? I don't care how swole you are. Sooner or later, the muscles gone, you're going to get decay. I don't care how well you can see now. Keep on living. Sooner or later, you're going to need a helping hand. Why? Because you are decaying. Every day you wake up, your body is decaying. This ain't no Benjamin Buttons. No. In reality, the more you live, your body, come on, how many can testify that you are not the person you was 10 years ago? Some of you can't even leave here and walk to your car without taking 5 breaks. Come on, because we're not who we used to be. This year, I turned 40 years old, and I'm here to tell you, I'm not who I was when I was 30. Wake up some morning, where did this pain come from? Find out muscles you didn't even know you had. Why didn't even know I had this muscle? Romans 8 verse 20 says, against his will, all creation was subject to God's curse. Romans 8:20, against his will, creation didn't even want it, but against what happened, creation now is under curse. You gotta watch when you're wounded. Watch the relationships you hook up in. Watch the people you do business deals with, because some people will prey on you and take advantage of your woundedness.
Join us every Sunday virtually on Facebook Live, live stream, or YouTube for a powerful, impactful word.
Remember now to get your praise on every Sunday
on Facebook Live, live stream, or YouTube for a powerful, impactful word.
Hi, I'm Lucretia Herring, Executive Director of Faith Movers Academy. Faith Movers Academy is located right here on the grounds of Faith Movers Church. Born out of our senior pastor, Pastor Moses B. Herring Sr.'s vision to have a Christian academy that marries spiritual growth and development and academic rigor, Faith Movers Academy provides for a Christ-centered, personalized educational experience that is both fun and creative. And we want you to be a part of that experience. If you have a scholar that is pre-K, ages 3 and 4, or if you have a scholar that is in grades K through 5th grade, we would love to see you here. Why don't you visit us at www.faithmoversacademy.org or call us at 708-279-1012. Remember, Faith Movers Academy, where we're building faith, developing scholars, and revolutionizing education. We'll see you soon.
Faith Movers Academy wants to be part of your child's educational journey. At FMA, we believe every child is a scholar and every scholar has a divine purpose and gift from God. Birthed out of the vision of our senior pastor, Faith Movers Academy is an innovative, Christ-centered, culturally relevant academic institution that believes in personalized learning. At FMA, we believe in hands-on learning, exploring our world through field trips, and giving each scholar an educational experience tailor-made for their learning style. At FMA, Faith Movers Academy will serve children ages 3 to 4 and offer grades kindergarten through 5th grade. Registration is open. Drop by for a tour or come to one of our many open house opportunities. Support the vision. For more information, go to www.faithmoversacademy.org or call 708-279-1012. Remember, Faith Movers Academy, where we are building faith, developing scholars, and revolutionizing education. Join the movement.
Thank you for watching Faith Unscripted with Pastor Moses. If you're ever in the greater Chicago area, Pastor Moses would like to personally invite you to see him live at Faith Movers Church. Faith Movers Church is located 25 minutes from the city of Chicago at 425 Exchange Street, University Park, Illinois, 60484. You can join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. and on Wednesday at noon and 7:30 p.m. We know this will be a transformational experience. Once again, thank you for watching Faith Unscripted with Pastor Moses. And remember, whatever you do, be a faith mover.